I'm Kasper Drozdowski. I'm from Toruń, Poland. I'm a freshman in computer science and I'm an international master. Okay, my name is Kasper Drozdowski. I'm an international master from Poland. Today I'm going to show a game I played against Anton Hujar David, and that's a game I played in 2012 during World Championships, which was one of my better tournaments in my life. And this game is an example of how you can actually win against Grandmaster as a black just simply by outplaying him. Okay, so I'll start the game. Well, first of all, okay, a bit of introduction. That was the 10th round of the tournament. We are both at 6.5 out of 9. So winning the last two games meant finishing at top 2 or top 3. So of course we both had to win the game. So the opening choice already surprised me because I was expecting something like more sharp, just probably e4 on the first move. However, he just decided to go out of theory and just try to outplay me just because he's a stronger player. So he played this setup d4, knight f3, bishop g5. So that was already end of theory for both of us probably. Okay, so white is choosing such a silent setup, but it's not easy to play against it, mostly because, well, there are no weaknesses. It's hard to say what to plan to choose as black. Okay, that's all. So far, it's all theory. Bishop d4, d3, c5, c3, queen b6, rook b1. Okay, bishop g4. Well, that was my idea. Mostly play knight c6 and then try to play e5 in some way, like maybe knight c6, rook e8, and e5. However, I already had my own idea for the whole game, so I simply exchanged the bishop, which, well, doesn't seem so strong at the beginning. So why do you want to give up bishop pair? Well, I thought that the white squared bishop will become weak in later game, so it's better to exchange it for the knight, which turned out true. Okay, knight f3, knight 6, castle. Well, here there was also some games played in this position, but everybody played rook e8 and e5 next move. Okay, I played rook e8 before, and I didn't play. I didn't. Maybe I could take on before, maybe play a6 and then e5 or something like that. I decided to choose a different plan: c4, bishop c2, and not e5 now, but a5. Well, the idea of that's the whole plan. I'm trying to make just one weakness on the queen side because I know I'm not going to do anything on the king side. If I play e5, then, well, I only have a weakness on d5. So my only plan is making a weakness on b5 for him, and then trying to attack. So after b5, knight b8, he should have played a4. Well, just so I don't have this plan. However, he wanted to quickly push e4 by knight d2, knight d7, f4. That's another move that really surprised me because, well, it looked like he was playing knight d2, intending e4, and suddenly he changed to f4, which is, well, it's defending against e5, which I wasn't intending to play at all. So I didn't really understand the move. Well, I guess that he's a stronger player, so he has some plan that I don't see. Okay, I played a4. Of course, if white takes, bishop takes a4, I have queen a5, and c3 pawn is hanging, so he can't take that. So this way I made a weakness on b5, which will in longer term will decide the game, as we'll see later. He played queen e2, and of course a3. And here yet sorry?
Am I that weak? Why is it of course a2?
Man, you can't play rook b2, rook b1.
I mean, what else? I mean, I don't want him to play a3, then rook b4, and take my pawn on a4. That's his idea, I guess. I mean, if you play a4, then a3 is a logical follow-up. Okay, here again I was expecting e4, which of course the engine suggests e4 with a small advantage for white. However, he chose such a plan, bishop h4. Well, the idea is queen a5, bishop e1, so I can take on c3. And well, I can now see that he's planning a kingside attack by g4 and g5. Okay, I simply return to queen c7, g4, e6, and g5. Well, I think this was still better to play e4 at this point. Maybe g4 wasn't like, I mean, playing g4 and e4 isn't like best choice, but it's still better than what he played in the game. Because actually after, well, that surprised me as well. After g5, knight h5, the engine says that I'm already better here, which probably he wasn't aware of and I also wasn't aware of. Okay, he played knight f3, knight b6. I want to play knight a4, maybe knight b2, then rook a5, take on b5. And I'm hoping that there is no checkmate on the king side. Okay, knight e5. Okay, here I decided to change my plan to actually go with the knight to f5 or e4. Queen g2, and here that's an important move, bishop h8, because the threat was bishop d1 and taking on h5. This was probably a move that he didn't notice because he fought for quite a long time here, trying to think of some plan probably. He played bishop d1 anyways, knight g7, h4, knight d6. Okay, h5, well, he has...
One bishop on h8 instead of f8.
Why not bishop f8? Because he has something like bishop d1, knight g7, and knight g4, and knight f6 next move. And when the bishop is on h8, I can simply play knight f5 and knight f6 checks. It's not a threat. This was probably the only move here, if I don't want him just to take on h5. Okay, h5, well, he has also no choice, he has to follow his plan. Knight f3, and well, that's an important move. Of course, you don't want to get rid of the bishop and like leave him, and leave all weak black squares, but well, I could actually count that there's no checkmate here, there are really no threats, and after takes e5, knight e4, white has problems with the g5 pawn. I just threaten queen e7, and that's really hard to say what he can play. He played bishop c2. The idea is just to take on e4 when I play queen e7, but there was probably nothing better. Okay, queen d8. Okay, the idea of queen d8 instead of queen d7 is to play queen d5 later and defend the e4 pawn. That's what we played in the game. And well, here probably white was slowly realizing that there's no checkmate here, and okay, my next moves are probably, well, if white doesn't do anything on the king side, I'll just play b6, rook a5, and take on b5. And he was also running short of time already, running out of time, so he didn't really have much time to think of some defense. He played rook b4, b6, queen e2, trying to attack the c4 pawn, so I have to defend something myself, and so I can take his pawn. Okay, rook e8, queen c2 now. Rook a5, queen b1. Well, of course, that was a very passive plan, and we can see that generally white's plan was a failure, and he hasn't achieved anything. Well, the question now is just how to win the game as black. So my plan is now rook c8, exchanging the b4 rook, and taking the b5 pawn of the second rook. Okay, playing king f2, because there's just nothing better. Rook a4, rook h1, rook takes on b4, c takes on b4. Well, here we both had like just a few minutes left, so he was probably hoping just to play bishop c3 next move and just hold to the draw. So I played the only move I could to actually play here, c3. Well, I didn't really need to count much because I can see that I'm not risking anything. Even in the worst case, there will be just nothing, it will be a draw. And if I just take on, if I just take on b5 somehow, then he can play bishop c3 and just maybe even play h6 and hold to a draw. So I played c3, and it turns out that the position is actually already won for me. Okay, bishop c3, of course there's no other choice. Rook c8. Okay, now we both had 30 minutes added, and my opponent fought for quite a long time, but he realized that he's already lost. He has no choice here, bishop d2. And there's one more important move, g takes on h5, which gives me just, because white can always somehow block himself on the queen side. So this way I open the king side, and I even have some plan like king g7, king g6 if there's nothing on the queen side. Okay, he took on h5 and queen c4. It's now, I don't need to lose time for taking on b5. So okay, now queen c2 is a threat and there's no good defense. He played rook h1, queen c2, rook d1. That's the only moves. And here I could already calculate that the ending is 1 for me. Queen takes on b1, rook takes on b1, rook c2, king a1, rook takes on a2, d5. Well, he finally gets active, but it's already too late. I have enough time to calculate everything. d5, he takes on d5. Okay, rook c1, rook b2. There are of course some threats like rook c8, e6, and bishop c3, but even if he takes the rook on b2, I takes b2, and well, there's no defense against promotion. So rook c8, king e7, king g7. After e6, I can simply take on e6, and bishop c3, king g6, takes on b2, and I won. Okay, so he played bishop c3, d4. Here same, he can take on b2. He takes on d4, rook c2, and there's now no good defense against a2. He played a2, bishop a1, rook h2, rook c1, e3. And so then it turns out that he is actually getting checkmated here. He can defend against promotion, but he can't defend against checkmate. I played king d1, rook d2, king e1, and knight to h4, that's mate next move. He resigned. Okay, so well, to summarize, well, first of all, he played like an unknown, not popular opening, trying to outplay me, mostly by not giving me any chance for any counter attack and just simply attacking me on the king side. However, he didn't realize that he should play b5 and a4 on the queen side to just defend his pawns and then try to attack on the king side. He allowed me to create one weakness on b5, which actually decided the game because I could break through on the queen side. And all of his attacks on the king side turned out just they didn't turn out dangerous for me. And his bishop pair was not much used in such a close position. We can now see the bishop on the a1, which is just not doing anything, and didn't do anything for the whole game. Okay, so I guess that's all. Thank you. Any questions?
Can you rewind a little bit?
Yeah, can you see some of the binding positions?
Instead of
please go away.
Of course, we can.
Why Isadora in this room?
I mean, we know Julio has some great positions, but can we just see what had happened if White had played normally with e4 in the center?
Okay, White could play e4 for like 3 or 4 moves. So when we can tell me when exactly.
I guess f4 was the move where White really sort of went off track, right?
Yeah, I think already f4 is a mistake. It's just a wrong plan. I mean, White was hoping that there will be some attack on the king side, and well, we saw there was no attack. Okay, e4. I take on e4. Okay. Well, we have a choice between knight e4. Okay, let's try it first. I can play knight d5, and we can already see that what White played earlier before in b5 is, well, this wasn't a great plan because now c3 is hanging in many lines. Well, the position is roughly equal. Well, it's hard to find some forced lines here. I can play, I know, queen f3 maybe. I know, I have many moves here, maybe queen c7 to defend the pawn. I mean, there's no advantage for any of the sides, I guess, but of course it was better for White than what he played in the game because, I mean, when the position opens up a bit more, his bishop pair can be just strong.
point just for the video to play e5 and c4 pawns?
Well, I'm not sure if I want to play e5 because, as I said, then I open up the position even more. So maybe I just no. My knight on d5 is quite strong, and when I play e5, and he takes on e5, he can play rook d1, and the knight will be hanging. Maybe I can also try to play something like a4, a3 again, make some weaknesses here. Well, it's hard to play. It's just an equal position, and it would just play on. He will also take on c4, I think, but yeah, after queen c7, the c3 pawn is hanging again, so he can't. Well, he doesn't really have a good move here, right? Queen to rook c8 and is hanging again. Bishop b3, a4. So that's also good for me. Yeah, but of course e4 was better. Just play e4, take on e4, and just hope that the position will open up soon. So you had some questions, I guess.
We good, right? We good. We done?
Good test.
Very good, that's good.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
So,
Nice.
Oh, really?
you finished? Finished it? You finished
I wanna sleep. So tired.
I finished 7th. I had a draw in the last one, but I shared from 3rd or 4th to 7th, and I had the last. No, you had less. I was the last. I was 7th, and I lost because of the rating buffer. I shared from 3rd to 8th, I think.
Okay, then I was sharing like from 8.
You had half a point less. I had to win the last one to be 3rd.
E4 C5
Oh, you think.
So he knew that.
So who won that year?
It was Świercz, I think, from Poland.
Yeah.
Corey was 2nd, I think, and then it was.
I think I should have played that one. I could have easily won, right?
I didn't hear you.
You're a bit too old, so.
No, 2012?
Oh,
No, but it was in 10 I should have
That's
played
cool.
in Poland. When was it? In 10?
Yeah.
I should have played in 10.
Well, you should have.
I should have. Did you play there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Можно строить полигон.
What?